Edvance group. Welcome to the summit, sir. And can you just brief us about the group that you're working in? What areas do you function in?
Sure. Advance, the idea, the name came from the idea of advancement through education. And we started our focus on early childhood education because we think it's awfully neglected compared to the importance it has in what science has shown the importance of the early years. We feel it's very neglected. We focused on early childhood education. We're a joint venture with a group called Eaton House in Singapore, and we set up and run high quality learning centers for children 1.5 to 5.5-year-olds around India. We set up about 55 of these, so they continue to grow.
And so what do you have to think, what do you have to say about bringing innovation in the current education sector in India? What's the need of it and what's the path ahead for the innovation?
So, to me, innovation is fundamental. And most people think innovation is, I think we normally think about technology, but I think innovation can be on multiple grounds. It's about thinking differently. Let me give you examples which I think are important in education. One is the relationship between a teacher and a child in the classroom. How can we look at that differently? Traditionally, we think the teacher has more knowledge and it's passing down to the child, and we think a child is cute, sweet. But maybe we can think that children are innately capable and have access to lots of knowledge, and we need to facilitate their understanding in new ways. So I think there's models of innovation in teacher-children relationships. A second area I think is critical is to look at pedagogy and curriculum, and to think about what are methodologies to build young people who are citizens of tomorrow, and what kind of pedagogy should we have? Activity-based learning, experiential learning, holistic learning, where children enjoy learning in the process of inquiry, and how do we complete that? So that's the second. And third, I think we're talking about a very small segment of elite schools. I think there's a third area of education which is around looking at how do we get high quality education to the larger groups of society, with issues of quality in primary school, with issues of access in secondary school. How do we look at innovation using technology for improved delivery models, or innovation in business models such as low-cost private schools? So long story short, I think there's huge scope for innovation across the sector. And if we don't do it, I think we're doing a disservice to children and to education.
And technology is a very important part of innovation. So what role, in your opinion, what role do you think technology plays in preschools where children are really at a very early stage and they're exposed to very kind of technology? So how can technology be used to build up their personality and help them in growing up?
So the way I think about technology in education, whether it's for preschool and younger years or the older years, I think as educators we must think about what is it we're trying to teach, what are the learning outcomes we're trying to achieve with children, and then what are the tools to help us get there. And I think it's not to look at technology and independence and say, wow, this is the be-all and end-all. I think it's to how do we leverage that technology to help improve learning outcomes. So how is it a means to an end, both in preschool and school? That's how I think about it.
And to talk about this, events like these summit, as in School Leadership Summit, for instance, what do you think about these platforms where all these stakeholders come together and have a discussion about the pertinent issues relating to education? So what do you think the importance of these platforms are?
I think when there's best practices happening in certain locations, I think it's important to share those best practices so that they can be disseminated to other organizations. And coming together, I think, is an important part of that discussion. I think the key to these discussions is to get beyond the basics and then ensure that we then go back with a mindset to actually execute and try. I think in a lot of innovation, we think we need to have big change. I think one can start with small change and evolve to big change.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.